Hey everybody, welcome back. It is Thursday, March 18th, 2021, and we got a flea market finds episode. It's a Facebook finds. This is a pick from Facebook from last week, and this was actually a small lot of items that I was able to pick from a place about 45 minutes away from here. And this was somebody who had been selling machinist tools, I guess, that belonged to a family member she had some ads up for a while, and she kept changing the ads, and I guess she was selling off pieces here and there. And I had looked through and decided that there were several small items in this lot of stuff that she was selling that apparently, when she reposted the new version of her ad, those items were still there. And I was thinking, okay, those had been passed over several times. So I thought maybe, just maybe, I could put together an offer on a pile that she would be willing to accept and would make it worthwhile for me to head out, because she's had some kind of high prices on a couple of the items. But when I bundled it together, I was able to get her to accept my offer of $100 for the lot. This was one of those rare situations where we actually got down to brass tacks, so to speak, and cut the deal before I even got in the car. Didn't want to drive 45 minutes, find out that she wasn't willing to budge on price. Nothing blockbuster here, not going to be anything that's going to make me a rich man. But hey, you know what? Every little bit helps when you're trying to supply a bunch of guys that are very interested in getting good quality used machinist tools at good prices. So as I mentioned, I paid $100 for this lot. Let's dive right in and see how I did. So she just had an ad that said machinist items for sale and took a picture of all this stuff on a table and had no prices on it. But then she said that if I went through her marketplace listings, that I would see all of the items listed individually with their prices. But one of the items that that piqued my interest and I decided to take a chance on was this old Ames indicator. This is an Ames 3824, and she's got a sticker on here, 4-inch long travel dial indicator. And then she tore off, by the looks of it, I think that there was something right there, probably a price that she had on this at a yard sale or something like that. I don't know, but this she had listed for $40. And I valued this at only $20 because it is quite old, and I think I can hear that, but it's a little sticky. It just seems like it's really dry inside there. That could also be something rubbing inside here. I don't believe that the rack is bent, or that this rod is bent, which is good. So this is, a thousandths indicator, but what's kind of neat about this one is that it's got this box area up on the top here, and it's got this little marker right there, so you can actually kind of roughly see when you're, above 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, up to 4 inch. So this would be a neat indicator for somebody to make. You can make something for your lathe, where you could actually measure your travel of your carriage, something along those lines. So interestingly enough, you see right there how it's hanging. It's hanging right there. Watch when I turn this. So something is going on inside here. So I'll probably poke around with that. My plan for this was to maybe see if I can't give it a little bit of a tune-up, and then maybe replace this crystal, because it's kind of scratched up and dull. This is another item that caught my eye in her ads, and I was kind of wondering why this hadn't sold yet. And then come to find out, the reason why it had been passed previously was because there's no crystal. The little plastic crystal is gone. But this one, unlike that last one, is actually working perfectly fine. So it looks like this is a 645 indicator. So what she's got on the back here. And again, you know, it looks like there was a price here that was removed. So this should be an easy fix, just a matter of getting a new crystal for it. This will make a nice little back button indicator for somebody. I think I already have one of these, so I'll probably pass this one on. And I probably only value this at around 15. So it's at 35 in those two indicators, and that means that I figured I paid 65 for everything that's left in this bag. First up, we have this is a 392 attachment, but it's marked center gauge. But what my eagle eye spotted in the photograph with this C391 Starrett center gauge was this. All right, and what this is this is a Starrett 392 center gauge holder. So I've shown these in the past. This is a nice little addition to have. Allows you to basically, it's got a little spring steel piece in there, and it allows you to take your center gauge, okay, and now you've got your round piece of stock chucked into your lathe. This little V on the back lets you sit this right up against it so that it's parallel, so that the center line, so that this edge ends up being perfectly parallel with your center line of the part that you're getting ready to turn, and then you can adjust your tool post and bring your threading tool right up in here. As opposed to if you don't have this, you basically end up holding this like this. So that's what that little doohickey does. And it's nice that it's got the original box too. Next up, we've got a nice Craftsman 94031 screw pitch gauge, 51 pitches. Pitches 4 through 84. I have one of these in Starrett. I just sold one of these in Fowler for $30. And this one is in great shape, and it's a Craftsman, so it's going to appeal to both machinists who want a gauge that has a lot of leaves in it like this one, but also to anybody who's a Craftsman collector. So it's a good deal there. Next item is this here is something by Neil Tools Limited of Sheffield, England, and this is the Eclipse Pin Chuck with Collets. Now, when I saw the photo of this, I had no idea how small this was. But all this is a it's like a little pin vise, and it comes with 3 different size collets, and then that obviously can be put right in a collet. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to keep that or not. It's an interesting little thing. We have a Starrett number S830 small hole gauge set. I've never seen this set. I've had the set that's just like this with the longer handles, and this has got surface rust on it, so that's the bad thing about it. But the business end of these looks pretty good actually, and it's missing one too. I forget about that too. It's missing size C. So that's the other reason why this was probably sitting there and hadn't sold previously. She had $30 on this. So I mean that's probably approaching eBay prices for a full set. So based on sold sales, the full set is worth 30 or 40 bucks. But this is missing one. So, and with the light surface rust on it, I think that 30 was a little steep for this. So again, I bundled this in, so I probably ended up paying about 15 for this. So that's about 80, which means that I'm into this last item for 20 bucks. I think I undervalued a couple of things, though. I don't know. But anyway, so the last item is this Brown and Sharp number 795 Wiggler set. Good news about this is it is complete. And not only is it complete, but it's in like really nice condition. It's like, it looks mint. I don't know if this has ever even been used. So there we go. That's the last item. And most of this is going to be going up for sale. A couple of those items are going to be delayed, like those indicators, until I get a chance to do a little bit of cleaning and tuning and replacing crystals. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this short and sweet episode of Flea Market Finds. And I just picked up an estate over this past weekend, which is quite a good sized haul. So that's going to be probably a multi-episode. All machinist tools. So hopefully you guys will look forward to that. So as always, if you like the content, please hit the like button. And if you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. So this is kind of a short pick video, so I'm just going to add this one on. Because this is something I just scored a few days ago. So I'm looking at Facebook Marketplace like I do from time to time. And just luck of the draw, I spot this Greenard Arbor press. And I'm like, oh. So I click on it and I read the description. The first thing that catches my eye is that it's one town over from me. The next thing that catches my eye, which caught my eye right off the bat, was that the asking price was $100. So then I'm looking at it, and it's a Greenard number 3.5. And I could see from the photo that it had the big arm on it, the leverage arm with the counterweight on it, which means that it's the ratcheting model. The Greenard 3A, the Greenard 3.5 actually had like 3 different versions, and 2 of the versions had ship's wheels on them, they call them, which is the round wheel with the 4 spokes, like it looks like a ship's wheel from an old tall ship or something like that. And they used that for leverage. And there were 2 versions of that had different diameter wheels on it, and so those had different ratings. But then they made the ratcheting one, which is what this is, and the ratcheting one has a 5-ton rating. So it's actually a pretty nice sized arbor press. I have a Dake arbor press. It's a Dake Model 1A, which has nothing to do with the tonnage. It's definitely more than a 1 ton. The numbers on the Dakes run different than on the Greenards. Dake is also a U.S. made good arbor press, but I think Famco is the other big name in U.S. made arbor presses. Greenard is kind of cool because Greenard arbor presses are made right north of me, 1 state north, in Nashua, New Hampshire. They've been in New England their entire existence, and they've been in Nashua for I don't remember how many years, but it's right on the company website. Their main line of manufacturing now is dedicated to hydraulic presses for the industry. For different industries. Many of them are computer controlled, and there's a whole lot of highfalutin technology going on with those things. But you can still buy the old-fashioned manual arbor presses from them. And they still have the Model 3.5 in their catalog, which is kind of cool. The reason why it was $100 is because it was stuck in the down position. But the daisy wheel, as they call it there, the wheel with the different size slots on it, that was present, which was a plus, and it actually didn't look like it was in too bad a shape. So I decided to contact the people and ask them about coming out. I'm glad I did. The listing was 1 hour old, and when I came out the next day, he told me that he had a lot of interest in it, but I was the first one to respond. He had a second one there. It was a smaller size, and initially I didn't think much of that one. He had 75 on that one. That one had a broken plate. The daisy wheel was broken on it. But that one wasn't seized up. What I ended up doing was I ended up buying them both because he gave me a deal, $150 on the pair. So I want to show you guys these things. We unloaded them yesterday into the Oliver loader. My Dodge pickup is having transmission work done right now, so I couldn't go pick them up. So I drove out to his house, made the deal, and explained that if he could hold them for me, that I'd be willing to pay him and leave them there and then come back for them when my truck was ready. But he said, you're just 1 town over. You'd be happy to deliver them. I was like, wow, what a deal. So he brought them over. We lifted up the loader on the Oliver to the perfect height so we could slide them off of out of the bed of his truck right onto the front end of the loader, and they're sitting in the loader right now. So let's go take a look at those. Yeah, but before we head out, let's take a look at my current largest Arbor press, which is this Dake number 1. And as I just mentioned, the number 1 does not mean it's a 1 ton. This is a 3 ton. This is actually the largest size press that Dake makes in the single lever fashion. In other words, single action, I think is what they call it. What they're talking about is they're talking about that there's no mechanical advantage as far as gear reduction or ratcheting or anything like that. This is basically just a straight, well, let's see, from this side, let's just take a look at it. Notice that it says that this is Dake Corporation, Grand Haven, Michigan, USA. According to Google, the company is still located here. And also, according to the websites that are selling these presses, they are still all saying that these are all made in the USA. So apparently they're still making these presses in the USA. The new model number for this particular model, the 3-ton single action, is 901006. You can find this on Grainger for $900, but if you shop around, you can actually find a little bit better deal. Around $800 is about average. And then you got to watch out for the freight, because this sucker right here weighs 130 pounds. So it's not going to be cheap to ship it. That being said, I actually found one on Amazon for $790 that claimed free shipping, which, I don't know, that seems like an incredibly good deal there. That would blow away pretty much everybody else online. So the design is a little bit different than on the Greenards. On the Greenard, they use a round ram, and this section up here is a forged or cast or forged in one piece. So there's no plate to take off on that one, which is unfortunate in my particular situation with it being stuck. This right here, this plaque would indicate to me that this is probably a pretty early one. So that just says Dake Model 1. This number right here I think is just a casting number or a part number. I don't know if you noticed, but on the side the frame has a 101 on it. This has a 102. So it's probably just like a part number. And this side here is pretty much void of marking. I do have what I do believe is the original handle on it, which is nice. These often go missing. And it's pretty simple operation here. There's a little wire snap ring in here, and there's supposed to be one in this groove on this end, and that keeps this handle from being able to be completely withdrawn or to fall out on you. So for speedier action, you can just kind of use it like this. Or if you're for maximum leverage, you can bring it all the way out. But there's basically just, it's a rack and a pinion. That's it. So the force is being directly applied. There's no gear reduction or any mechanical advantage here other than the leverage. So that's why it's a single acting, I think is what they call these. This plate right here is 3/4 of an inch thick. The maximum height available underneath the ram here is 10 3/4 of an inch from the top of this plate to the bottom of the ram. Or you could take the ram out. You could take the plate out, and from the top of the table here to the bottom of the ram, you can get 11.5 inches. The maximum diameter of anything that you could put on here would be 14 inches, because from the center line of the ram here to here, the max is 7 inches. So, interestingly enough, the Greenard presses, you can't find them at like online distributors and everything. So apparently they market directly, or you buy direct from them. Because if you go to their website and you click on dealer locator, it just comes up and shows their Nashua factory location and basically says request a quote. So I have no idea how much the Greenards are new, but you know, in the argument of Dake versus Greenard, I can't really speak to like Famco or any of the other brands, but as far as the two U.S. makers that I know of, Dake and Greenard, the argument would be round ram versus square. And one of the things that's nice about the Dakes with this removable plate is, my understanding is that you can shim this so that if over time you get wear and you get some slop in here, there's not much in here at all. But if you do want to take that out, you can actually shim this. So the drawback with the green it is, from what I'm reading online, because of the round ram that as that wears, and the fact that this is a complete casting, which I'll show you in a moment, you can't really do anything about the wear. But I'm not convinced about that, because I noticed somebody else had one that was jammed, and somebody had mentioned something about a jib. So I'm wondering whether or not there isn't a jib on the ram that can be replaced as it wears. We'll see. Let's go take a look at those two Greenards. Well, my neighbor's out cutting his firewood for his outdoor boiler, so hopefully the noise isn't too bad, but there it is. It's also very windy out here. I got the dead cat on. So there it is, number 3. Now they made another few versions of the number 3. So the number 3 is a 3-ton. They made a ratcheting version. That's not the ratcheting version. They also made a 3A, which is the same tonnage, but it has a deeper throat. So that'd be a nice one to get. That one right there, being a 3-ton, that looks like it's going to be about the same size as my Dake. Although looking at it out here, it looks bigger. I forgot to bring a tape measure. But anyways, so the only issue with that one is the plate is broken. And I'm questioning whether or not that's even the original plate, because that seems awfully thin. Because I think the specs called for a thicker plate than that. What's nice is the ram has very little play in it. It's actually really good. And that's surprising, considering somebody spent a lifetime of abusing this thing by hammering on the top of this ram and mushrooming this. I might even take that out and grind that off just to you know, make it pretty again. That one clearly is marked Nashua, New Hampshire. So, and then there's the biggie. Now this is funny. This is a number 3.5. So that's a number 3. That's a 3.5. But the 3.5 ratcheting model, which is what this is rated for 5 tons. And you can see the plate is much bigger, much thicker and heavier. So the bad news about this one is that ram is stuck in the down position. And apparently somebody just kept going in that direction until it's so far down that it's actually below the surface of the plate. So somebody online asked about how to get one of these unstuck, because they had the same problem. And somebody told them just use a porta power and get it underneath there and push it back up. And they did that, and they said it worked out perfectly. And they said some crap came out. In their case, a mud dauber's nest was in there and actually jammed it up. So they got that out, cleaned it, put it all back together, and everything was fine. This is going to be a little bit trickier for me because of the fact that this plate is in the way. If I can lift the plate up and out, I might have enough clearance to get something in there. I'm not sure. I also noticed that right here it's peened right on the edge. And if I were a betting man, I would guess that somebody had this laying down on its back and was hammering on this, trying to bang that ram back up. So unfortunately, neither one of those had any sign of the original cast iron stands that came with those back in the day. That would have been a nice bonus. So my plan is fix up that 5-ton, make a stand for it, and put that in my shop. And then fix up the 3-ton and sell it, and then also sell my Dake 3-ton.